to 8 here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Johnny Hughes. I'm here with William Asiedu and Helen Apiampofo. Joining us now in studio is lawyer Chris MALM-HESSE. As a private legal practitioner, Helen, what have you been finding out? You've been digging.
I have been digging, yes. Indeed.
What have you been finding out?
I am. Listen.
Say it. Say it and let's hear you.
Flabbergasted isn't the word, but I'm very intrigued, and of course, lawyer MALM-HESSE is here to break it down.
You are shock-priced?
I'm shock-priced. Okay, this one has to do with seduction. So if you saw a flyer this morning and you thought, say, hey, Anka seduction, Lord, yeah. How do the two marry? We're about to find out. And so I'm reading here from MALM-HESSE's Law Bites, and this one again under family law. This bites very juicy. We're about to sink our what? Teeth into this one. All right. Well, the main basis for payment of damages in customary law for seduction is the dishonor and disgrace brought upon the family of the seduced. The man who has seduced another man's wife is liable to pay damages to the husband for the injury done to his feelings, his honor, and his pride.
Say again. Read again.
Okay. Are you ready to digest it?
We are ready now.
I'll take it again. The main basis for payment of damages in customary law for seduction is for the dishonor and disgrace brought upon the family of the seduced. The man who has seduced another man's wife is liable to pay damages to the husband for the injury done to his feelings, his honor, and pride. So
if you wear a nice suit like Chris MALM-HESSE and a lady feels that you have seduced her, you are liable to pay if she decides to press charges.
So this one is in Patasika.
In Patasika. Oh,
is it like that?
Chris, welcome. How you doing?
Thank you very much. I'm good.
Good to see you.
Yes.
Where did you go and carry this thing from? Let's begin. Because we're sitting somewhere quietly. And then you come with this. Where did you bring it from?
Yeah, so for some time now, the Law Bites has concentrated more on family law and sale of goods to educate the public on some of the principles espoused in there. And particularly with this particular one, it all started with issues spanning in customary law.
Right.
Yeah, and with customary law marriage, just as we all know, it's where we say proverbially we say the old men and the elders sit under the tree to accept drinks and all the customary gifts for marriage. So two families meeting to accept the fact that either parties could exercise customary rights and duties in either of the family. Now, when the marriage is established, it comes with certain characteristics. Now, not the characteristics associated with customary law marriage, but we are looking at some of the actionable offenses. Now, in customary law marriage, you have issues of seduction, you have issues of enticement. Now, with a view of seduction, one must establish, just as she read, the man must establish that the other party, that a man seduced the wife, and all of that, and as a result of that, he has suffered emotional damage, he suffered pride, and brought dishonor to the family, and all of that.
So this is law?
Oh, yes.
Which law? Is it a new law? Has always been there?
No, it has always been there.
Really?
It has always been there. It is.
And have people been pressing charges, or if you like, taking matters?
Yeah,
to
I mean,
court
interestingly, when it is law which is actionable, and interestingly, I've started putting it out. Had some of my colleagues pushing it out with cases that they are doing to for us to have more discussions on it. It is an action grounded in customary law, and we must also understand that under our constitution, it allows, under Article 11, it allows, or the sources of law includes customary law, and as a source of law, whatever constitutes an action which can arise from there is actionable in our law courts. Yeah, so an action in seduction is grounded in law, just as one for enticement.
Seduction.
Yes.
Hey, then a lot of people should be paying compensation too. Like Helen, for example.
No, please.
Will be paying compensation to DJ
realize that
family every now and then. Yeah.
You realize that we say that the main basis for the payment of damages in customary law for seduction is for the dishonor, because if one is in a marriage and you have it that your wife has been induced and procured away from you, it brings that dishonor. Let's take the last part, which says that under customary law in Ghana, seduction can be the basis for a claim for damages. Seduction involves sex and sexually related activities between the married woman and the other man.
Does that include digital sex?
Whichever one, it is imperative for the man to establish that sexual relationship had happened. Now, in other tribes or ethnic groups, touching the beads of another woman constitutes seduction.
Okay.
Yeah, and the man can bring an action. We should also not forget that in our customary sphere, we have issues or it establishes the institution that once the person has paid bride price and all of that, the man is entitled to the woman and solely just that. And these rights are more of husband rights to sustainable. So they are husband rights rather than more of the female establishing those rights against third parties.
Ellen, you have another slide.
Yes, and I wanted to say thank you to Laura because we had a question come through. What constitutes seduction? So I think that has been cleared up as sex and sexually related activities.
Right.
Okay, so the bites go on to say a husband in this situation can sue the man who seduced his wife for general damages and other costs for the customary purification rights.
Right.
So that there are some purification rights that will occur if a woman finds herself in that predicament. It goes on to say the court fixes monthly maintenance sums for. This one has to do with maintenance. So we've done seduction. Shall we move on to maintenance?
But before we go to the next one, I just wanted to find out from counsel, if you talk about customary law, it pertains to communities. If I'm right. Yes. How do we identify? How do we get a hold of the law? Because if, for instance, if you talk about constitution, I can go for it. If you talk about the act, I can go for it. If you talk about LI, it's there. Customary law, where does it sit?
Yeah, so just like I said, if you look at Article 11 of the 1990 Constitution, customary law is one of the sources of law.
Agreed.
So, it is just like the common law. Now, in advancing that kind of law, I was involved in a maintenance action where, as part of the alternative reliefs, albeit not the main, it happened that the lady had changed the name of the child without consent. So the name that was affixed to the child at birth was not what was maintained in the present, So the court led evidence to establish that. So in this particular traditional area, what pertains as far as customs and traditions, as part of the customs and traditions of the people of this particular area, what is it like in naming child? Is it the mother? Is it the father? And can it be done unilaterally and all of that? Now, it is just amongst the Ghana community, and it came out that no, in the Ghana community, it is the man who names the child.
That's right.
Yeah. So the court fixed in such situation will take evidence and establish what permeates or what happens in a particular geographical region or traditional area.
So practically, practically, what would the court do? Would the court invite an elderly person from that community to come and give evidence? Because as I'm saying, if it's a constitutional matter, we can go to the constitution. When you are leading evidence in customary issues, where do we establish the evidence? As you said, would they bring an elderly person or a leader in the community to come and give evidence? How does it work? I just want to
it's just normal in our tribal system. Evidence must be led, and evidence is called by the parties in a particular suit. So whatever action that you are seeking to establish in court, parties that you call or witnesses that you call to testify for you, they would talk about whatever is prevalent in respect of customary traditions and practices in that particular traditional area. Now, if it happened that there is a contrary opinion, so the other party also calls some witnesses who say that no, it is not this way or it is not that way. The court will look at the most probable.
I see.
So it's not a codified situation where you can find a document to say that in the
customary law is not written law.
I understand. Just for the education of our public.
Yes, customary law is not written
as
law.
you are talking about the law, somebody may think that look, I can go and pick this document. So it's now come out that look, it's just how you lead the evidence.
So just like I'm citing the issue about the naming of a child. Now, if the woman is saying that in the Ga traditional area, it is the woman who names a child, and the man on the other side had led evidence through witnesses to establish that no, custom and tradition is the man. Now, the court can decide to call an expert witness, or a court witness. So let's say a traditional ruler from the traditional area to speak on matters in this nature to assist the court in resolving the matter. You know, when the court always under the evidence act as what we call court witness or expert witness, and the rules of evidence allows that for resolution of matters.
And that's what I wanted to
so in respect of customary law and traditions, these are some of the things.
I see. Let's look at maintenance. Helen, you had something on maintenance. Now that so now you have some education publicly. Seduction, it can land you. I mean, what reliefs in terms of in monetary terms, counsel, can people seek?
It's basically compensation, monetary terms.
How much?
So
because I think Helen.
It depends on the degree of
the seduction.
Yeah, the action. So if you've done the
first degree,
if you have touched the meat, you haven't eaten it. 10 cedis.
Yes.
If you have eaten it, 20 cedis.
If you have chewed the bone,
if you have taken it.
Yes, if you have chewed the bone too.
So it depends. If you've done that, if you're not here for a very long time.
Yes.
Every afternoon you say, I'm going for lunch.
For a very long time.
They will see you there.
You go for lunch and you touch somebody's meat. You pay them.
There was this case of this lady who was at Teshi, and she went to the market to purchase some items. Upon her way back, she claims she met this gentleman who started stalking, and after he had advanced amorously towards her. Now, in the course of it, the woman stopped. They had back and forth, and finally happened that they had sex somewhere. Upon the woman getting home, the woman complained. Yes, that evening.
The man is a hard guy.
The woman complained to the husband that
has no fear.
This is what Mr. A did and all of that. So they were called at the traditional house, and the man confessed that ABCD and compensation was given.
So there's an action can
yes,
go
there's an action. There's an action.
So it's not the action, the process of how it was done.
Yes.
Less than.
So one thing will lead to the other.
No, there.
Yeah, one thing will lead to
but just by the rules that they found from one corner.
Will lead to the other.
Hey.
I'm surprised that all parties came clean, confessed, and made the payment and moved on.
Yes, one of the ways is confession.
Just like that, the woman confessed, the man to confess.
Yes.
But
in fact, there was a woman who went to confess that somebody has done this.
I'm curious. It wasn't rape.
No, it was
Consensual.
But that's why I'm curious, because you're a married woman, you are going to the market just by the roadside, you see a gentleman, and consensual sex happens.
He convinced you. Maybe he
and
used
you
the
go and
charm.
confess.
Confess. The
And
man
then you
to
give
come
compensation to the husband.
This is very bizarre. I've
Oh,
never
wow.
heard of anything like this.
Oh yes.
We're living in 2023.
No, but this is serious. You
Yeah,
know,
so-
it's not
This is
rape.
interesting. No, she went on her own volition. She said, I like how
That-
lawyer MALM-HESSE put it. The gentleman advanced amorously.
And the woman to
be lawyer-
consensually accept
lawyer's-
it amorously.
A lawyer's language.
I love that. But before we go to maintenance, there's a question here from one of our listeners. They want
Okay.
to know whether if a man sends love messages and suggestive photos and videos to another man's wife or WhatsApp messages, can you identify the guy and sue? Say you are where you are going. I don't like that.
Especially those who send nude pictures
Yes,
to people on
nude-
Facebook.
yes,
Inbox.
inbox.
You receive some.
Yes.
Helen, say yours.
And so on and so forth.
So with that, it is not grounded yet.
Okay.
It's not crystallized yet. It's not crystallized yet.
That might somebody sends something to my wife.
Yeah, something to
on
your
social
wife.
media.
Yes, there must be physical contacts,
Okay.
and such that it brings the marriage into disrepute. It brings the honor of the man into disrepute. So sending messages or whisperings or any of that sort, it's not it. Such that, just like I said, in some communities, if you touch the waist beads, because waist beads are considered sacred,
Right.
and it is only the man who has the legal
License
right
to
to
touch
see those. So that if you go out of your way to touch the beads of a woman, then that becomes very, very
So what about those
problematic.
colleagues who maybe whisper naughty stuff into the ears of married women, and your lips would touch her ear? That's when there's physical
Yeah,
contact.
so there's physical contact.
Or if your breath is too close.
Yeah. That one too is physical. Your breath is too close
And there's
for
some people,
comfort.
some people will have a hefty bill
Yeah,
whispering in
Charlie.
the ear or in the here alone.
30
People
pesos
have
per
a
account.
hefty bill
30
to pay to other people's
30 pesos per
husbands
account.
and-
Hey,
So the point is that seduction is not an action which is abstract. It is one. In 1961, we have Apalu. Apalu is one of our customary law jurists who who built a lot of this Apalu and then Olenu. They are one of the fundamental
Yes,
pillars
yes,
of
yes,
our
they-
customary law
That's the Kofi
jurisprudence.
Apalu start
I
where
was
you
going
are.
to say
So-
that's a different Apalu.
That's where the Apalu is coming from.
And listeners can just Google cases of Asante and Sapon. It's a 1961 case which dealt with seduction, and how the court dealt with damages and all of that. So what we are talking about is not one which is abstract or just to cause sensation, but it is for the purpose of education. That if you see somebody's wife, respect that position. Don't try to.
Does it relate to men too? If you see somebody's husband,
Yes, I mean.
I mean, and to women as well. Those
Yes.
women against the men.
can women
Does it
seduce men and also get compensation for?
So I can say if Janet does looking at my husband any kind
No,
of way.
you are not married. So
No, I'm saying hypothetically.
No, reality. If you look at me and
This
you
is shade,
and you
Mr.
seduce
Hughes, this
me
is shade.
and you have physical contact with me, can my wife ask for compensation from Helen?
You see, it depends on the ethnic group, but this particular action is more of a husband legal right.
Okay.
Because he will go in and
Yes.
Counsel.
Yes, it's more of a
Now
husband
talking
legal
about the
right.
marriage, if I'm wearing a ring, or
Yeah.
if the woman is wearing a ring, it's quite obvious that she's married. But customarily, people get married and they may not wear rings. So if I go and plead that I didn't know that she was married and she didn't tell me that she was married, is that a defense enough?
It wasn't me.
Definitely. I mean, the point is she a married woman?
But if I didn't, I mean,
In the course of it, you definitely get to know whether or not the one you are dealing with.
For instance, the case that they met one day and it happened, then the woman didn't tell her she wasn't wearing a ring, and as you said, it happened that day. We didn't have to go back and forth for me to establish that she was married. And I go to the traditional court and tell her that she didn't tell me she wasn't married. She wasn't wearing a ring. She didn't say anything consensual. We did it. So why do I stand liable for such an act?
So then that becomes a defense. But as to whether the facts, the peculiar nature of the facts would determine the outcome of
the
it.
case.
You know, that become a defense.
All right, let's move to
You have
men's.
to make sure your wife wears a ring all the time. So
But
that-
some people also are not married, but they wear rings these days
the-
to ward
I'm
off
talking about the married woman.
to ward off people.
Well,
So
but
So-
as you say,
Anyway.
the circumstances will determine the outcome of the
Yes.
case. So.
Yes, but I see more of the women wearing their rings. Let me see. Okay,
me,
I've seen.
mine is-
Okay. The ring
Even if the
wearers
ring is not there, you
association.
look at the finger, you see
You
the mark.
see.
see,
Anyway, the
yeah.
gentlemen here, like they wear their rings. Really, it's okay. It's okay. Let's
There's
move on
evidence.
to maintenance. There's evidence. Well, this one, another bite here on maintenance. The court fixes monthly maintenance sums for spouse to pay given the relief. Also, where the parties are not married, the woman can apply for maintenance order for the benefit of the child. A spouse, either parties in a marriage or a man not married, can be ordered to pay arrears of maintenance where it is so. The court may order the employer of a spouse or man to deduct the monthly maintenance sum at source and pay to the other spouse or woman with the child given the relief sought. Where a spouse files for maintenance, the court will satisfy itself on the earnings of both parties. Any impairment to earnings by either spouse, the cost of living in the area where the child is resident, their standard of living, and any other special circumstances prevailing. Aside marriage, where parties are in Council, please, you have to help me with this.
Concubinage.
Concubinage.
Yeah,
Thank you. And there is a neglect of maintenance of the child. The woman may file for maintenance for the child, but not for her interest.
Council.
Yes.
Nikrakra
So
Nise.
Nikrakra Nise is that maintenance is dependent on both parties. So two spouses must maintain each other.
Okay.
That's the position of the law, and provide for the children or the child as well, in terms of health, education, and all of that. So in a situation where one party is failing to live up to expectation, you can bring maintenance action against that particular person. The most important thing is that where you are a baby mama, you can also bring a maintenance action against the man, not for yourself, but for the child.
Of course,
it is very important for the women to know that.
But when you cook for your children, you eat some, so you benefit.
So,
but then,
sometimes they construe that I also need to be maintained. No, it's
for
a
the
child.
children. But counsel, tell me. So you're married, you live together. You know the African thinking that once a man comes to marry you, he's the one supposed to take care of everything. Your money is your money. That the woman's money is her money, but the man's money is for both of them.
Yes, what's mine is mine.
Yes,
what's yours is also mine.
Is ours. How do you situate that in this maintenance context?
Come again. Your money is my money.
So, for example, you know that in most married homes, they leave most of the responsibilities, if not all, to the men.
Yeah.
Now you are reading this to us, which means that both parties have a part to play.
Yeah, both parties have a part to play.
Okay. Does it
under section 47?
Right. Is it just financial, or does it encapsulate all? That's
everything.
One. Number two, if it encapsulates all, should they have a percentage, distribution that they must?
So when it comes to providing for the house and even household, so when we say maintenance for the household, it means that there is a child other than the biological child, and once the man has customarily adopted that particular child or formally adopted, then that person forms part of the household. Right. Now, when it comes to maintenance, there is no proportion that one must advance towards the maintenance of the home. It is about resolution, amicable understanding between the parties to have do A, do B, or do C, that kind of thing. But in a situation where one fails to live up to that expectation, then we say that under the Children's Act, the woman can bring an action for maintenance of the children.
But how can you be living together and bring an action against the person you're living with?
It is happening a lot.
It does?
Yes, it does.
In this country?
Yes, in this country.
Two people married with their children.
Yes, they are living.
They live together.
And
one goes to court to say spouse A or B does not support.
Yes, we even have two people living together and they file divorce. We call it they are abstract of each other.
And they
yes,
live
we are
together.
all in the same house. We don't talk to each other.
Oh, I
we
know
do
a
things
couple.
separately.
It
Yeah.
happens.
We do things separately.
Yeah, I know a couple like that. They divorced
Because
now about
the
25
animus
years. and they
decidendi
still live
is not
together.
there.
Say again.
Animus decidendi.
Okay.
The mind is different. They are living in different worlds. They are there.
And they are not
Oh.
compos mentis.
Yes.
Oh,
no, the compos mentis means that they are not they are not
Yes.
mentally.
So that's what I'm asking.
So compos mentis in law means that the person is not mentally worthy.
Right. And I'm saying that. So how? Because I'm.
No, they are abstract in their thoughts, in their mind. So I'm in my world, you are in your world. We are not living as husband and wife.
So there's no.
We are
point,
not consulting.
There's no point of intersection. A union, B intersection, B doesn't happen.
The couple that I know, they've been divorced now 25 years. They have 2 fridges, 2 like they live in the same house. I think the man is on the top floor, the lady on the bottom floor. In fact, they don't even really speak. When you go and visit the house, if you are not careful, you meet the other person, then you say, where is so and so? They know that they're absent. So I don't know.
Counsel, so if
And they
I'm
were married.
Yes.
If I'm married and my wife refuses to give me food,
Yeah.
can I sue her?
What kind of food?
Oh, food.
So
We
this
know.
question
Adriana.
can lead to the last bites that
Yes.
we put up this morning. That's the enticement. So with enticement, if you a third party, you are able to establish that a third party caused your wife to depart from matrimonial duties, which it really includes matrimonial duties, then you can bring an action against that person. So you must show that the person induced your wife, procured her, and out of the matrimonial activities, including sexual activity, including mending your clothes, feeding, all of those things.
So
Yes.
if a church activity is taking my wife away from home for so long that she doesn't cook for me, can I sue the church? Or is that too abstract?
Yeah.
Midiska mami yiri, no ye duani mami midiska mami yiri, no ye duani mami midiska mami yiri, no ye duani mami midiska mami yiri, no ye duani mami, emwa o yiri, emwa o yiri, emwa o yiri, emwa o yiri, midiska mami yiri, no ye duani mami midiska mami yiri.
The late E.T. Meza, the Temples Band there. Mbwa uyiri wai. William, uyiri mawe diani mbwa uyiri wai.
If there's an activity, church, whatever, that is always taking my wife away from home so she doesn't feed me, that third party, that's the church. Can I bring an action?
Mbwa uyiri.
Oh, if it is such that, no, I don't think so, because in this situation we need to establish that it's completely caused your wife to depart from the matrimonial duties. So you have
That's
a
what
church.
I'm trying to establish.
You have a church. You have a church.
Or any organization.
No, but it is not. It is not frequent. So it may be
chief,
that
in
it may be that
it can be frequent.
Sundays she's not
Monday, Wednesday,
No, those who go
Sunday.
for prayer meeting, they are
Monday,
doing
Tuesday,
this.
Wednesday.
Monday, every day, my wife is on the road.
It
doing
must
something.
be a matrimonial offense, and in the one that you are talking about, it might be probably in a week of let's say 7 days, probably that happens maybe 2 or 3 times, or let's say 3 times.
So if it's 4 times,
say it's 4 times. So you cannot establish this as the norm.
So Monday, for
So
example,
Monday, she provides food
so,
for
so
you.
for example, Monday there is women's fellowship meeting.
Yeah.
Remember Sunday there had been church meeting, and then there was another meeting. She's part of some group in the church. They met.
She does four out of the 7.
Monday she's also women's.
And she hasn't cooked and put in the fridge.
Tuesday she goes for choir practice. Wednesday she goes for midweek service. Thursday she's going to train Sunday school children to do choreography.
Saturday.
Friday they are going to
So
clean the
it
church.
is the
Saturday.
pastor who has caused her to depart. Yeah, if you can establish that the pastor is the one who has procured your wife away from matrimonial activities, so be it. There was this case at Kurbuland where the woman was working for this hotel, and it happened that the man wasn't economically viable, working and all of that. At the end of the day, the man, the employer,
The hotel
sought to have the woman work more, and the man believing that the man had procured the woman away from him, brought an action against the employer. But it didn't suffice because the man could not establish that this is indeed the situation, especially because the man asked the woman to stop the work. And when they moved to another town, the woman again went back to the employer. So going back to the employer, the man sought to say that you have caused my wife to move away from me. But the court said that he couldn't establish the position properly so-called in law. So it must be the situation that you need to establish that your wife was induced to move away from the matrimonial home. Induced. Okay. It was procured and departed from consulting with you and all the necessaries of the matrimonial home.
In terms of maintenance, let's bring the question of rent into the situation. So I'm supposed to take care of rent. I find the money and give it to my wife. I'm traveling on a trek. And then I give the money. I say, okay, in 2 days, the rent will be due. So give it to the landlord. And then my wife goes to church a day before the rent thing. She has the money in the bag. And then when the service was ongoing, pastor says, come and sow a seed for double portion of your blessing. Then my wife goes to drop this our rent in the offering bowl. And then comes home. I come home, landlord is talking to me anyhow. I ask my wife where the rent money is, and she says, oh, I went to church. Pastor says sow seed. We were in the spirit. I went to drop our rent. So that is the situation. Can I bring an action against the church? Or my wife or the pastor? You're talking about inducement. That's what I'm asking.
It is your wife who didn't think through things. She didn't think through things. No, the inducement has to do with the fact that you have somebody who constantly will tell your wife to leave the man. Your husband is not good enough. I am a better man. I can provide for you. Is showing your wife a lot of things. And finally procuring your wife away from you. To such that your wife will stop her matrimonial duties hitherto to you.
So what I'm saying, for example, is that this spiritual platform that was created, and then they talk to my wife, as part of the congregation, that look, if you want a better this, maybe better marriage, come and sow this seed. Maybe knowing well that if I am displaced and I don't have a place to stay, the woman would leave. Saying, can I bring an action?
No, it's not actionable.
Okay.
So, counsel, the third party who is inducing my wife and procuring her, must the third party benefit from that procurement before the action can succeed? For instance, if I'm a spiritualist and I tell my wife that she should leave you, the husband, but the spiritualist doesn't marry my wife, does it end there? Or
so that is enticement. Okay. So enticement is not sexually related. So just like you have some relatives who would say, leave your wife, or leave your husband. Your husband is not good enough. Or you have some friends who will tell their lady friends to leave the marriage because the man is not pulling his weight. So that is enticement. So that's a typical situation. Yes, you can bring an action against those people. Okay. So that is enticement.
Enticement.
So if you are fond of, or you are in the habit of
telling your friends,
causing people's marriage to fall asunder, please be careful. Be ready. Drama marriage. Be careful, because the man can bring an action against you. We call it enticement. You are causing the woman to depart from her matrimonial duties.
Let's make a few calls and questions for counsel. 055-924-2717, 055-691-0154. Few calls and then we get into Community Connect. Then dashing you times more. 055-924-2717 and 055-691-0154. Maintenance and seduction. All the things that you heard lawyer talk about. If you have questions, counsel is in studio. Lawyer Chris MALM-HESSE is a private legal practitioner. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Sunday and Hawaii.
So imagine as an electrician, you've gone to fix a client lighting problem at home. The husband wasn't there, so you were there, and then you had just come from the bathhouse, sat down and opened the bulawayo. Then you couldn't control and you gave in. Who is to be blamed here? Who is to pay?
It's a critical question. Lawyer has heard your question. You'll answer it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hey. 055-924-2717 and 055-691-0154. 055-924-2717 and 055-691-0154. 055-924-2717 and 055-691-0154. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Johnny, yes, sure.
Talk to me.
Johnny.
Yes, sir.
The lawyer, you see, he talk, but why Lord used to delay like this, Johnny? Sometimes you need a thing fast, then the law is delaying you. Well, you are not guilty. But the law is delaying you. You have to bribe the law sometimes. And Johnny.
Okay.
So if we are doing like that, how can they respect the truth man? The bad man now, they say they get money. And they are bribing law. Why should it come like that? Why should they bribe law?
Okay, I hear you.
If the lawyers does not see that they are bribing the law.
So your question is that why does it take so long for the legal process to end? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you very much.
Court.
Thank you.
See, if you are on your right, you have to waste money. If you don't get the money, then the law can't work.
Okay.
The law can't work.
Thank you.
The lawyers won't respect you.
Okay.
So you are on your right power. When somebody is keeping you, but the lawyer has to help you. Help you make the law work there. If you not give one at yourself, God will bless himself. It's good. Oh?
Pro bono. Counsel. Okay, there's one more call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Please, my name is Rasadidi.
Okay, Rasadidi, talk to me.
Yeah, my question is that in Ghana we have a particular tribe with a tradition. Like if a woman cheats on her husband, maybe the woman will be died.
Okay.
The children, they have children. But the children will begin to fall sick or some of them will pass away.
Okay.
What about if they go and consult the oracle and they find out that maybe the woman has cheated on the husband or bring death to the husband? Can the man sue the woman?
Okay, all right. Question is set. Counsel,
Yes.
number one, if you are an electrician, you go and fix somebody's thing before you knew it. Or before you know it, you are in the Bulawayo.
Yes, in a situation, you have to be the Joseph in the Bible.
You have to flee.
You have to flee.
You have to
Flee from Potiphar's wife, please.
Maybe
Other than that,
they wanted connection that way too.
If the man, if the married man is able to establish that you slept with his married woman, he can bring an action of seduction against you, and the damages that he would get, law says that will be used for purification rights. Yeah.
Okay. And what about the second one? Places where they believe in the fact that if you, for example, go behind your husband or your wife, you could either die, the spouse could die, or your children could be falling sick. And if that is established, can a suit be brought against the party?
Yes, I mean, it follows the same principle that if the married woman is involved in a sexual and sexually related activity with another man, and it's found out in court or bringing such an action, the married man needs to establish that indeed the third party man had an affair with this particular person, which will be grounded in what we call customary law action of seduction. And when he is successful, damages would be awarded him for purification and compensation for the disgrace brought to the man's family.
I see. Okay.
But the next point was about pro bono. Do we
Pro
have
bono, yes.
pro bono
Yes,
services for some
we
of
sometimes
these
hear some of these things. There's a reason why there is legal aid
Okay.
Legal aid is well resourced with competent lawyers to deal with some of these things, and just as we have private practitioners. But most of the people, when you tell them that they can access legal aid, I don't know why they don't have the confidence. A lot of civic education needs to. You see, there's always that mindset that something government is not good. But I mean, it's the same sophisticated legal brains there, and we have great people at legal aid who are doing wonderful job. So, general public, some of you who cannot afford soliciting the works of private legal practitioners, please believe in the works of legal aid, and you get whatever complex of legal problems facing you solved.
Non-payment of allowances to court-connected alternative dispute resolution mediators. I just had to bring that back. They have not been paid. And that is why people will not go to legal aid. It's not me saying it. Yeah, they have not been paid. The mediator has not been paid. Can your case be? But we have to wrap up, Council.
Sure,
Thank you so much indeed for coming. Though I know that a lot of people would want follow-up questions, and sometimes some people are in a situation they want to engage with you and see if they have, because I'll call you myself. Some of the things that are happening around me.
For us, we just do education. We believe in public education. Education is the greatest tool a human being can get.
Right.
And so knowing your legal rights and way around things is very important.
I'll come to you because
MALM-HESSE Law Bite is all about just education.
things
Nothing
are
more than
around
that.
me when I come to work sometimes.
What is happening around
I
you?
need to sue a few people. But now I've been clothed with the knowledge.
Yes. It's just not family law, but it's general.
General,
Yes.
So if your boss promises that every Friday they'll supply you with wachi, and they fail to do so,
emotionally, how
It's a breach of that promise.
mentally, emotionally, physically.
You have to establish that
have
you
to
have
establish.
been.
Since the boss hosts me here, I will not see further.
Oh my God. Chris MALM-HESSE, thank you. And then the phone numbers you want to leave quickly with us, phone number, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I know it's not about you doing. We're not asking you to advertise. We are asking because you do a lot of education.
No, it's just the bite. So just follow the bite.
Okay, they should follow the bite. Thank you very much. All right.